A Florida man was caught jiggling his genitals outside of a hospital. A Florida school made parents sign permission slips for Black History Month. A Florida man assaulted his girlfriend after being angry for sitting next to a gay couple at a restaurant. And a Florida lawmaker presented a bill that would allow you to kill bears on crack. These are the weird stories for Friday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast in the galaxy, and the only daily weird news podcast that does Florida Friday. That's right. All of the weird news from this week from one state, our favorite state, Florida. Let's do it. A Florida man is in trouble for juggling his genitals at the entrance of a hospital. Oh, he was jiggling his bits and pieces, was he? You can't be jiggling your bits and pieces in public. Can't be doing any of that wang-waggling. You know the kind. Little bag tossing, sack flapping, sack smacking, ball bouncing, crotch cornholing. Can't be doing any of that. But he's a Florida man. Of course he's going to do this. A patient in Florida was arrested. Oh, he was a patient of the hospital. He escaped. He was arrested after lifting his gown and jiggling his genitals while standing at the entrance of the hospital. More information is needed before we judge, right? We don't want to judge this man. Maybe he had a good reason for jiggling his genitals outside the hospital door. Perhaps this poor Florida soul had a genital condition and he didn't want to take those pills, that the doctors prescribe you, because those pills have those unsavory side effects, like your liver will cancel. Instead, he wanted a natural cure for his genitalia situation, and it had to do with, jiggling them every 10 minutes. The Florida man's name is Darren Milinsky, age 51. He had been discharged from the hospital, but was still wearing his gown when he was standing at the entrance at 6 a.m. on Saturday, according to the arrest report. Darren was seen outside of the hospital, lifting his gown, showing his genitalia, and asking passersby to please check his, quote, balls. He was just... Well, this is what happens when you don't have health insurance, and you still need answers. Medical care in the U.S. is so expensive that this guy had to crowdsource his testicular cancer diagnosis. Why are you showing me this, sir? I'm the bus driver. I know. I need a second opinion. Can you help me here? Oh, so good, so good. Says here, while he was showing passersby his genitals, he was seeking opinions as to whether they appeared to be swollen. Do these look swollen to you? How is this illegal? To want a second opinion? How? It says here a woman who was visiting the hospital that morning was among those to whom Darren exposed himself. Some of the witnesses interviewed by the deputies said that Darren, who stands 5'7" tall and weighs 230 pounds, was, quote, jiggling his genitals when he lifted the gown. All right, what does his height and weight have to do with the importance of his activities involving his genitals? I'm just curious. The arrest report also lists Darren as a homeless individual, but records indicate he previously lived with his 85-year-old father in the Villages. Oh, the Villages. Well, you spend any time in the Villages, eventually you're going to end up naked on drugs. You might find yourself on a public sidewalk asking strangers to inspect your little tiddly bits, while you're doing a little bit of sack tossing, little apple bobbing, some nut flapping around with the gonads and the tiddly bits. Yay! A Florida school made parents sign permission slips to allow their children to participate in Black History Month events. Well, being afraid of history is pretty normal for people in Florida, I think. Some states don't have enough education. Florida, anti-education. Says parents at a Florida school were asked to sign off on their students' attendance at Black History Month events. The parents at iPrep Academy in Miami received these permission slips, asking them whether they wanted their children to participate in February's Black History Month activities. Okay, so it's not so much to learn about Black History Month, I don't think. It's for Black History Month activities. I'm not sure what they are. Maybe they involve learning about Black History Month. Activities in general, such as field trips, do require permission slips. Perhaps they're going to take them somewhere, some museum off-site. I don't know. Trying to give Florida the benefit of the doubt here. I don't know why. Let's keep reading and be totally disappointed. Now, the offerings for Black History Month activities include school-wide and classroom-based presentations showcasing the achievements and recognizing the rich and diverse traditions, histories, and innumerable contributions of Black communities. So, it sounds like education-based presentations and whatnot, maybe some speeches and maybe some pamphlets to read. So not exactly a field trip for the mind, I would say. We have a Florida parent named Jill. She seems like she has some scruples. She says she was pretty shocked by the permission slip, which would allow the parents to remove their children from classes highlighting Black accomplishments. She said initially she misunderstood the form. And then when she realized what it was, she said, quote, "I'm pretty concerned as a citizen." Yeah, well, it's a little late for that, Jill. You're living in Florida. We have a guy named Steve. He's a member of the Miami-Dade School Board. He said that the policy aligned with a recent state board rule, which is an extension of the Parents' Bill of Rights. And he said, quote, "We have to follow the law. Something feels very off here, and the fact that the school needs to cover themselves against the state feels even worse." The fact that Steve doesn't think there's something wrong with this is a little alarming, but he is on a Florida school board, so you can't expect him to have any brains or be all-inclusive. Let me ask you this, Steve. Is there going to be a permission slip to allow the children to avoid learning about St. Patty's Day that's coming up? St. Patty's Day activities will go forward. And for the children, we have shots. Whiskey in the bottle. We now have someone in the story named Marvin, who's a professor at the Florida International University. He said this latest move would have detrimental effects and there would be unequal learning among students on Black history. He linked this to DeSantis's wider agenda, which he described as an attack on education that would, quote, "make teachers more cautious about what they teach in class." And unfortunately, it's working in Florida. Taken further, I can imagine a scenario where the parents are just going to get a list of history items that they would like their children to not be taught and to be taught. They just check them off. At this point, just homeschool your kid. You want to have a little bigoted baby? Just homeschool. That way there's no chance they'll have empathy or acceptance. They can go out into the world with their bigoted brains and conceal carry their way through life. Shouldn't be a problem. By the way, if you have all that history in your head, then there's no room for conspiracies either. So that's a thing to be concerned about. A Florida man assaulted his date after getting angry over a gay couple at the restaurant they were dining at. We have here a Florida sugar company heir named Alexander Nicholas Fanjul. Alexander, the Florida man, has been arrested over allegations that he assaulted his girlfriend after returning home from a steakhouse where they were on a date, during which Alexander became angry about being seated next to a gay couple. Seems this Florida man, POS, allegedly left his girlfriend with injuries to her head, her face, neck, hands, wrist, and back. Palm Beach police were called to the home after a person reported hearing a woman screaming. Officers found the Florida man standing over the female subject, who was on the floor in a defensive fetal position and observed to be bleeding from the facial area. His girlfriend reported that she'd been dating this man, who is the heir to a company called Florida Crystals, Florida Crystals, are you sure this is sugar? Florida Crystals grows raw sugarcane in the U.S. The woman claimed that this incident left her feeling that she was going to die. Apparently, this all occurred because Alexander, the Florida man, who is the heir to the Crystal Company, had become increasingly frustrated after the couple were seated next to a same-sex couple at Flagler Steakhouse. And later, when she asked him to move on from the incident, that's when he set upon her, punching her and subsequently causing bruising, bleeding, and swelling. According to the arrest affidavit, Alexander is also said to have kneed her in the face, causing substantial pain. He took her bag and phone after she threatened to call the police. As she screamed for help, he allegedly threw her to the ground and forcibly dragged her inside the residence to prevent her from receiving any aid or escaping. Once inside, she claims he began strangling her. A police officer claims to have noticed red marks on her neck as well as a trail of blood along the floor as well. All of this because the sugarcane magnate, is that a word? Magnate? I think that means a rich guy that owns a company, right? All of this because the Florida man was irate because they were seated next to a homosexual couple at the restaurant. This guy not only doesn't want to say gay, he doesn't want to see gay. These are all the qualities of a conservative Republican senator, it would seem. I'm sure Ronnie DeSantis will appoint him to some committee on hate. Our new marketing director of the Don't Say Gay bill. Wow, it's really hard to wrap your head around. Try to do so if you can. Imagine in 2024, there are still people in the U.S. who, when they even see gay people, they have a complete meltdown. They just fall into a rage where they actually beat the person that they supposedly love. They beat their date. So the same people that don't want their children to be present for Black History Month, I imagine, as well. Now, this guy was released on a $180,000 bond and no doubt will not do any prison time because he's a wealthy individual. Very unfortunate. He should suffer some consequences, should he not? I mean, he should be tied to a chair and forced to be read to by drag queens. Or just have a train of gay men taking turns sitting on his lap and giving him a nice kiss on the cheek. Just, mwah, I love you, mwah. We'll just kill him with kindness. Just big hugs. Oh, we love you. I love you. And I love you too. I love you. Hey, do you want to create a podcast? Well, Spotify's platform lets you easily make, record, distribute a podcast everywhere and even earn money. And it's all in one place. And it's free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters. You can record, edit on your phone or your computer, send it to Spotify and everywhere podcasts are heard. They even have video podcasting options as well. Spotify for Podcasters allows you to earn money with ads and subscriptions too. Best of all, it's free. Try it. Download Spotify for Podcasters or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started. And good luck with your podcast. Good luck with your life, man. A Florida lawmaker says you should be able to kill the bears, especially the ones that are on crack. This Florida lawmaker is very concerned with the wildlife on substances, should be more concerned with the citizens in your state that seem to be on substances, although I'd imagine a lot of the lawmakers are also on crack as well. It's probably a requirement to get the gig. Let's get into the details. A Florida lawmaker is seeking looser regulations on the killing of wildlife. This lawmaker is claiming that black bears high on crack are breaking into people's homes and tearing them apart. That can't be true. I don't think there's bears in Florida that are high on crack. I did come across a story a few years ago of meth gators, so I think that's a real situation. I think this guy thought Cocaine Bear was a documentary and not a feature film. This wild allegation came from Republican State Congressman Jason Scholf, whose biography reveals that he has a passion for hunting. This is pretty bizarre, it says, by the already unorthodox standards of Florida, which in recent times has boasted cocaine sharks and herpes-ridden monkeys. Now, according to this Republican congressman, here's a quote. He says, "We're talking about the bears that are on crack, and they break your door down, and they're standing in your living room growling and tearing your house apart." He actually said that at a meeting as he discussed House Bill number 87, which would remove most penalties for killing bears without authorization. This congressman is very concerned about you defending yourself against bears that are somehow on crack. I don't even know how a bear can be on crack without opposable thumbs. Lighting a crack pipe, I'd imagine, is pretty difficult. But maybe the bears get assistance from the iguanas in the area. I don't know. We have another further quote from this maniac. When you run into one of these crack bears, you should be able to shoot it, period. You shouldn't have to pause or be afraid that you're going to get arrested or harassed or even pay fines. That's just crazy. You should be able to stand your ground against these crack bears. Now, it says here, despite there being 0 documented incidents of any black bears in Florida on crack, the colleagues appeared to be swayed by this person's argument and advanced the bill on party lines for a full House hearing. They all agreed. Yeah, he makes a good point. You know, if there's a bear on crack in your house or on your property, I guess you should be able to shoot it. Yeah, let's move forward with this. Meanwhile, the state is just completely crumbling in every other area. But no. Let's pass these laws. I'm amazed. I'm completely amazed. It says here that this congressman did not return a request for any clarification. Yeah. Yeah, why get clarification? Yeah, I don't know. I'm saying you should be able to shoot these black bears, black people, whatever. Anything black that you feel threatened by, you should be able to shoot, is what I think. It does say that there's some opponents to the bill. Wow, I'm surprised. Good. There should be opponents to the bill. Insane ideas. Opponents say this bill will allow people to kill bears even if no threat exists, then argue self-defense because there was no authority to investigate. Well, I mean, you could always make the bears pee in a cup before you shoot them. Yeah, excuse me. Could you, I just need to have you? We have to do a drug test on you to see if you're on crack while you're mauling me. I love how the opponents say, "No, wait a minute. This will allow you to kill bears even if no threat exists." No one's like, "Hey, let's talk about the fact that he's claiming bears are on crack. Let's talk about that for a minute." Let's talk about the fact that somebody is making huge decisions in the state here that also believes that bears can smoke crack somehow. How about we table the issue of a maniac in Congress? No one seems to be concerned about that. Now, in case you happen to be wondering, are there real bear threats in the state of Florida? Are there even bears there? Well, according to a census, there are 4,050 black bears, mostly located in northeast and north central Florida. It also says here there's only been 3 recorded incidents of actual physical contact between black bears and humans in 2023. Despite his promotion of this bill, this Florida lawmaker maintained that he has nothing against black bears. He says, "We love bears. I love bears. Bears are cute and cuddly and an amazing creature." Now, what I'm talking about is those nuisance bears. These bears that have become conditioned to coming into people's homes and such. You have heard it time and again that bears are shy and scared and they are timid. They stay that way. That's true. But those aren't the bears we're talking about in this bill. Yeah, I'm talking about those other bears. Those bears that are on crack cocaine. Those bears that are taking jelly babies and bath salts. And those bears that are they're up all night on the kitty flip. And then they come into your home and they try to maul you. Those bears, What are we going to, we can't get them jobs and put them into drug programs or anything like that. I think we should shoot them. Yay! Bears on crack. Yeah. I think you gotta shoot it. Bears on crack. Yeah. I think I'm gonna shoot it. How you guys doing? You enjoying my song parody about bears on crack? That was a wild one, guys. And I want to thank everybody who sent me Florida stories the past 48 hours. Very helpful. They were very weird. And I think they made for a classic Florida Friday episode. This is one for the books for sure. I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you're having a nice weekend, or you had one, or you're about to have one. It's a Super Bowl weekend, which is one of my favorite weekends of the year. I'm going to be spending Super Bowl weekend in San Diego, watching the game with friends, as I've done the past few years. It's a good time. You should be around your friends, do a little partying, live it up a little bit. Get your barbecue on, get your grub on, have a few adult sodas, enjoy the game. People have asked me, who do you think's going to win the Super Bowl, Jonesy? And I believe that Kansas City will win again. I do. There's something about that Patrick Mahomes that he's just kind of a magical guy. Now I'm a Tom Brady guy, but now I see a lot of that in this young man, and he just really impresses me. And I think he's a real winner. And so, despite him having a team that's a little inferior compared to his previous Super Bowl winning Chiefs teams, I think he'll still pull it off. He's magic, man. He's magic. Anyways, I hope I'm right because I don't want to lose money. I don't condone gambling. No, not on Weird AF News. Weird AF News, nor Jonesy condones sports gambling. You hear that, children? All right. Anyways, enough of that. If you guys would like to call the show or get a hold of me, maybe you're down in San Diego this weekend and you want to see me. I don't know. It's possible. Call the show, 646-450-2012. And my email is funnyjones@gmail.com. You can also slide into my DMs on Instagram @funnyjones. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. @funnyjones. Say hello. Introduce yourself. Tell me how you found the podcast. I'm always curious how people come across my podcast because I don't have a lot of listeners. So I'm always like, how did you find this thing? None of the podcast apps feature my show. They should. It's because if you're looking for daily weird news, I'm the only game in town, brother. You know, they feature daily weird news for all kinds of other subjects. Like you can get daily entertainment news, daily finance news, daily tech news, daily world news, daily national news, and all of those podcasts are featured on these podcast players, but they don't feature my weird news. If anybody knows someone who works at one of these podcast companies, it would be extremely helpful for my show to be featured. It should be offered. People should know that it's available. You understand? Because so many people need Weird AF News as part of their daily news lineup when they're listening to their news on a podcast player or on a YouTube, what have you. You know, because that other news is going to make you feel pretty bad, you know, and so you should add a little weird news to your weird news intake to just, you know, bring a little levity to current events, you know, bring a little, maybe you get some laughs, you learn a little something about the weird world that we all live in, which seems to be getting weirder and weirder as the years go on. So yeah, if anybody knows someone who works at Spotify, that would be extremely helpful. If this show was featured on the Spotify news section, oh my, you have any idea how that would change my life? It would definitely get me out of the closet. That's for damn sure. I'd be able to even make enough money to hire editors and writers to help me out as well. That would be amazing. Anyways, that's a tall ask, I realize, but I don't know anybody that works at these places, and I've reached out to them and they just ignore me. Okay, that's a call to action. That's a tall call. Something a little easier that you can do to help me out is just over the weekend, tell a friend about Weird AF News. I think word of mouth is a good way to spread the show around. And if you'd like to support the show with a couple of dollars, maybe you won a lot of money over the weekend on the Super Bowl. Maybe you made some cool prop bets, like what color the Gatorade's going to be, or how long they'll be singing the national anthem. There's some very strange prop bets out there. How many times Taylor Swift is going to be shown on camera, over, under, this sort of thing. I find them to be fun. And so maybe you want a little money. You want to support the show. Just pretty easy. Go to weirdafnews.com. That's my official website that I paid for someone to make because I'm not able to do such things. I'm not that bright. Anyways, when you're at the website, you can buy Jonesy a coffee by clicking on the coffee mug. It's yellow and white. Or you can click on the Patreon and join the Patreon. That's a cool way to support the show because you also get extra weird content that I put into the Patreon on a weekly basis. It's pretty cool too. Anyways, or do nothing. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. But please be safe. I want you to come back safely to me on Monday, all right? Because I care about you. And good luck with your life, man. And good luck with you're betting. No, I don't want to say that because I don't want you betting. But maybe you can bet. Well, good luck with it all.